Welcome back to DIY Golf Cart. In today's video we'll be installing a snow plow on a lifted golf cart, but this snow plow will also mount to a non-lifted one as well. There's some extension brackets that are provided in this kit that will allow you to mount it to this type of cart. Now, one other thing that we wanted to touch on, although we are located in Texas, which we don't see much snow, we do sell these things all over the world, so give us a call because we are pretty informative about this product. Alright, once we have all of our parts spread out across the cart, we're going to take steps to install this snow plow. Now, one of our first steps, this cart has a factory light bar, so we're going to have to remove the bar and the front shock shield. And in order to do that, we've got some 3/8 bolts that are located up here and also on the back side of these arms supporting it. So we'll take a wrench here. Take these bolts off. Alright, once we remove this upper bolt, we'll do the same task to the other side. Once we pulled the 4 bolts holding the front shock shield in place, seeing how we have a light bar on this kit, we're going to need to grab some wire cutters, cut that wire, free and loose the wiring harness, and then just unplug all the connectors. Alright, now once we got the wiring harness taken out, we got the shock shield removed, what you're probably going to want to do is you probably want to find somewhere up here in the frame to zip tie these wires to hold them out of the way while we install the front mounting plate for the snow plow. Also, what I recommend is the bolts that you use to remove, I would just put them in those existing holes just so you don't lose them at a later date. Okay, once we've removed the 2 inner bolts holding the springs to the axle weldment, we'll grab the supplied bolts that come in the kit and we'll put the bracket on and line up the back holes and the front hole so we can put the new bolts through. Alright, once we got the winch plate here in place, we're just going to hand tighten, or not hand tighten, but just snugly tighten the back 2 bolts and then use the same spring bolt that we removed from back here and put it through the hole, put the washer on the other side, and then a lock nut. The next step, we'll tighten all 3 of these bolts. So we'll go ahead and do that for you right now. Once we've got the bracket here nice and secure to the axle weldment, we're going to take the winch out of the box, which I've already done for us right here. We're going to make sure that the hook here on the winch is facing forward, as that's what's going to be used to pull up the snow plow. And then we'll line up the holes. And there'll be some nuts and bolts provided in the winch kit that you'll want to pour out. And go to the washer first, line it up through the hole, and put your lock washer and your nut on board. Do this to all 4 holes around the winch and then we'll move right along to the next step. We've got all 4 of the bolts in place. We're going to take our open end 1/2 inch wrench and a socket wrench with a 1/2 inch on it. We'll tighten down all 4 sides. Once we've got the winch mounted to the mounting bracket up front, our next step will require us to run the wires to the battery pack in the rear. Now what we'll do is we'll grab a zip tie. These aren't provided in a kit, so you're going to have to purchase these at an auto parts store or something of that nature. We'll run it through this hole right here and run these wires right back there and together. Now the positive feed will be ran further down the passenger side of the cart here through the wiring harness. And the negative feed will need to run down here. So we go back through that hole and zip tie the wire. Now we'll show you the steps to run it down the undercarriage. Once we've ran the wires and zip tied them up there, the negative is going to run straight through the frame here, and there'll be another hole on the back side right before you get to the battery pack. And then the positive is going to run through the hole where the factory wiring harness is, straight back in the direction of the battery pack. Once we've ran the wires up underneath the undercarriage, our next step will require us to remove the front seat. So what we'll do, these are on hinges, so you just pull it off like so, and just set it somewhere safe on the side of the cart. Alright, now we're looking down at our battery pack here. And what we're going to have to do in the battery pack area is this is a PDS cart, which basically means that it works on a regenerative braking system. So all the components are powered here right now. And we're about to do some maintenance to the batteries, so first we're going to have to turn our tow maintenance switch into the tow position. If your cart does not have that tow maintenance switch and it is electric powered, then of course you won't have to perform that step. Alright, once we have the seat removed off the golf cart, our next step, we're going to have to replace the ring terminals with the 5/16 because the one provided on this size winch will not fit our terminals. So we'll remove the old one, grab some wire strippers, strip it off, grab the new ring terminal and put it in place. Now we'll do the same thing for the negative one as well. For our next steps, we recommend the use of protective eyewear as we will be working with the battery pack. Alright, our first step will be in this process of connecting the winch will be to connect the negative lead onto the battery pack, and this is an electric system, and of course make sure that your box over there is in the tow maintenance position. But what we have here is we have two 6-volt batteries that are in series. So we're going to make our connections on the opposite end of where these are connected. So you have a positive terminal here and a negative one over here. So we'll grab our 9/16 and open end wrench, take this connection off, set the negative connection on. Now you'll want to make sure that you have this tight before you do the positive lead. And the positive will be exactly the same. Just remove the 9/16 nut and then put the 3/16 ring terminal on underneath the terminal itself. Now we should tighten both these sides down. And that will conclude our step in this video. Now if you have a gas cart, of course, you're just going to want to tie in your positive to the positive end on the positive terminal of the battery and the negative on the negative terminal of the battery. Once we've successfully installed all the electric components on the winch to the battery pack, our next step will install the lift extension brackets that come with this snow plow. Now, if you're installing this plow on a cart without a lift, you won't have to worry about this step. You can just mount the snow plow itself directly into the mounting bracket, but seeing how this cart has a lift on it, we're going to have to go this route. So, we'll remove this bolt, put the wrench in place, and these are supplied bolts that come in the kit. Run it through like that. side. And then do the same on the other side, and then we'll show you the next step. Alright, once we've got the bolts kind of hand tight in there, our next step will be for us to put the bolt extension through the hole. And then run the cotter pin through the hole there. So as you can see, you can easily take this winch on and off of the cart at your disposal. You can even keep the mounting bracket on there throughout the season, even if it isn't snowing. So it's just one bolt and one pin to remove the snowplow from the frame itself. Once we have the pin in place, our next step will be to tighten the bolts. Now I don't have a 1-inch opening wrench, so I'm using a crescent wrench and then a 1-inch socket. Alright, now once we got all 4 of those bolts tightened, our next step will be to unleash the winch itself and hook it onto the pin here in the center. Okay, once we've got all 4 of these bolts tight, we're not going to connect the hook here to this pin, because this pin is what's going to be used to angle the direction of our snowplow. But we will have to take the key fob provided in the kit and allow this winch to reach this point up here. So we'll hit the B button. And then once it's got enough slack like that, we'll hit the A to bring it back in. Just like so. One of our final steps in the installation process of this snowplow on an EZGO TXT is to install a replacement blade. Now these blades can be purchased because, you know, over time they'll be scraped up, and we don't want to have to replace the entire snowplow itself when you can replace a lesser expensive item like this. So we'll grab the nuts and bolts provided in the kit, run a washer through, put it through just like so, put a washer and a nut on the back side. Then move along and do this step to all 5 holes here. Alright, this concludes our install of a snowplow on a 95 and up EZGO TXT. Now, although we did install an electric cart, it can be installed on a gas one as well, or a different type of electric drive system. Now, one unique feature in this snowplow is not only that it's made in the USA, but it also has this breakaway feature. If you were to run over a manhole or anything of that nature, it'll break it away so you don't really snap the steering wheel into your chest. Also, it's got this push-pull pin right here so you can angle the direction of the snowplow. Now you'll have to do that when the snowplow's on the ground, as it's too tight right now with the winch. So what we'll do is we'll lower it down, and then we'll be able to angle it a different direction. And then hit the A button, and move it straight up. Alright, so this concludes our process. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll go from there.